It all starts somewhere in the Arctic Ocean. 5 crew members aboard a fishing vessel. The captain was referred to as Mr. Spencer. Jonah had become suspicious, as he was not used to being out in the cold waters of the Arctic. But their friend since childhood, Seth, insisted that this would be an experience that they would never forget. They had been at sea for about a week now, with nothing but the Arctic waters to keep them company. Lee had terrible motion sickness. It was picked on a lot by the rest of the crew. Chris seemed to really enjoy drinking on this trip, a little too much as time would tell. That's when the captain received an alert of a blizzard in their location, and it was a big one.
This is a severe weather alert. Those located in are in immediate danger of a massive snowstorm.
Damn it, radio went cold. Gentlemen, since we're experiencing a little rain this afternoon. Chris then asked, how does it rain in the Arctic? Of which Seth replied, it doesn't, you dumbass. The captain is saying we're getting a big storm. It was later in the night as the snow was coming down. I went to the deck to take a piss, and that's when I thought I saw a man overboard. I yelled to everyone, and everyone came out. To my surprise, it wasn't a man overboard. But just as everyone asked what's wrong, I quickly said false alarm, and sorry gentlemen. I went back to my cabin and was going to rest my eyes for a bit. That's when I decided to make a log on what I think I saw.
Captain's log 3. Tonight I saw what I believe to be a Ningen, as the Chinese would call it. It's an unknown creature to the outside public, as those with power have ensured its stay a mystery. But us who are at sea for a majority of our lives, we see things, and know what we see. Captain!
Mr. Jonah, how can I help you, sir? Jonah then asked, when you called us all out there, what was that really for? I knew it wasn't an accident. I then replied, it's truly nothing to worry about. You know what, can you keep this a secret for now? I believe I saw a creature called a... Jonah then said, what the hell was that? We had rushed out the deck to find Seth yelling off the boat, Chris. I asked what the hell happened, and he said Chris was pissing off the boat, and it looked like he fell in. I looked over at Jonah, and he had the face of pure terror. I gave them that look of, don't say shit. That's when he blurted out that the captain said he saw something. I then described to the rest of the crew what a Ningen was. They were all in horror as I described this creature. Chris was lost to Davy Jones' locker. I'm not sure if that creature got him or if his drunk ass just fell off the boat. After that, the rest of the lads were shaken up, keeping away from the edges of the boat. But this winter storm was keeping us in place, as we would likely hit an iceberg if we tried to leave. Also, all radio comms were down due to the snow. We were stuck with zero visibility, no communication, and a crew scared so shitless of something that I'm not even 100% sure I saw. A day had passed since Chris went overboard. Jonah had wrote a letter to his missus that he made me promise that would stay in our lockbox. Some time had passed that day with nothing but silence. That's when the ship had appeared to have hit something. Or rather, something hit the ship. Jonah yelled, look, and we see a pale white tail briefly go back into the water. I then yelled, stay calm, gentlemen. The boat was then hit again on the left side of the ship. Lee had fell and slammed his head on the other side and was out cold. This thing kept rocking the ship back and forth with such ease. Had to have been much bigger than whatever I saw initially. Jonah yelled, we have to start moving. I yelled back, that is impossible. We would surely be lost at sea if we tried. The storm at this point was picking up. I said fuck it. After this creature kept smashing into the boat, we started moving as slowly as possible away from the area in a direction I think was the right way to go. Lee was still out, but Jonah was taking care of him. After half an hour of moving, we hadn't had any incident. That wasn't until we stumbled upon a very thin ice sheet, but it was just thick enough to stop us. We had zero visibility. This time of year, the snowstorm should be non-existent. That was one of the worst I've ever witnessed. Seth then asked me what we should do, and to be honest, I had absolutely no clue. But I told him, we just have to wait out the storm from here, and see if we get a signal to call for help. It was 7 hours after we had stopped. was getting so damn cold, and we had to huddle in the cabin to stay warm. I had a small generator with a space heater to help us out. We then heard a loud rumble, almost like a humming. It's so hard to explain in words, but we heard that, and then out of the corner of my eye, I saw something pure white poking out of the water. I thought I was seeing things and rubbed my eyes and looked again, and it was gone. I sighed with relief to myself, but then I glanced over at Jonah, and he said with a scared stutter, Did you just see what I saw? I said, fuck, and everyone else was asking what happened. I said quietly, it's back. We then heard, or rather felt something skimming on the other side of the ship. I whispered to stay quiet. We were hit again by this thing, and Lee said, guys, you hear that? I said stay put, and I rushed down below deck, and water was filling up the ship so damn fast. I saw only a part of the opening, and it looked as if something with large, sharp fingers punctured the ship. I ran back up and yelled, we gotta grab all we need and hop onto the ice. Seth had yelled, you're mad, we would freeze to death out there. I responded by saying, would you rather end up like Chris? It was uncalled for, but I had to get the point across that we had to leave. The guys all quickly followed, and we hopped on the ice sheet. I was not sure at the time just how large it really was. I said, alright guys, stay behind me and follow exactly where I step. I had a metal walking stick that I used to test for any weak points on the ice. We wanted to get to the thickest parts, so the creature would be unable to get to us. We had walked in a snowstorm in the dark on this ice sheet for about 40 minutes. That's when we heard the rumble again. I said, stay calm. Keep moving. We started to walk. Lee was knocked off balance, but he saved himself. But that didn't matter. In the blink of an eye, the ice from under his feet had collapsed. I yelled, run. We started to run as the ice started to fall apart. We got to the point where the ice was thick enough to counter the rest that was breaking. I caught my breath and noticed Lee and Jonah weren't with us. I asked Seth if he saw them, but he didn't. I said we should call out for them. Maybe they just got separated. I yelled Jonah's name, and he responded in the distance. I yelled, be careful, and follow my voice. Then we heard screaming coming from his direction. Seth started to run, and I grabbed him and said, wait, do you hear that? And I looked down, and the ice cracked right where my feet were. Then we didn't hear Jonah yelling anymore. After that, it was quiet. No problem other than the cold. We walked until we needed a break, and at this point, the snow was starting to let off. I pulled out my satellite phone that I made sure to take with me, and it started to pick up a signal. Long story short, we called for help, we got saved, and I'm talking to you.